welcome to NED Talks. Today I'm here with Gail Brady, who is a new and very welcome member of the NED Expert Reviewer panel. Gail's a BANT registered nutritional therapist who specialises in female health. She's written an expert review on this paper that we're looking at here, which is looking at the association between retinol and carotenoids in the diet and serum with the risk of colorectal cancer. So welcome, Gail, to the NED Talks platform for the first time.
Thank you, Claire, and thanks for having me.
So could you just start by giving us an overview of this paper, please?
Yes, great. So this paper was a meta-analysis of research between 2000 and 2022 on the potential link between dietary intake and serum levels of carotenoids and retinol and the risk of colorectal cancer. And this is really important because colorectal cancer is the third most diagnosed cancer worldwide and the second in terms of mortality. And over the last 20 years, research has actually shown, or linked the incidence and aggressiveness of colorectal cancer with dietary intake of retinol and carotenoids. So this paper included 22 cohort studies and case control studies across diverse populations from Europe, North America and Asia, included over 450,000 people and a total number of 19,293 cases of colorectal cancer. So it was a large population studies. There were 18 studies relating to dietary intake and 4 based on serum levels. And the studies had to meet quite strict inclusion and exclusion criteria, and the data was actually analysed through high and low intake, dietary intake. It was also broken down into subgroups for sex, tumour type and study type. And what they found was high dietary intake of beta-carotene was not associated with increased risk of colorectal cancer in females. However, it may actually lower the risk in males. But conversely, high dietary intake of retinol was not associated with colorectal cancer overall. That was a statistically significant finding. However, within the subgroups, the findings suggested that it may reduce the risk in females and increase the risk in males.
Okay, so as often with these nutrition meta-analysis, the situation is confusing and varied. So really fascinating. In terms of our listeners and healthcare practitioners, nutritional therapists listening to this talk, what were the standout take-home messages for you?
I think the standout messages were really that we need more studies, more research, which is quite often the case in these meta-analyses. And we need well-controlled studies over long periods of time that actually do analyse results by race and geographical location, and also the sexes as well, males and females. And the authors did actually recognise in this paper there are a number of limitations, which included the large heterogeneity between the studies. They also didn't have any baseline information or dose information, so it's quite difficult to actually translate this into what that would mean for nutritional therapy. So I think in terms of that, we need to be looking at the standard guidelines and using that as our baseline. Also, there were a number of covariates in the different studies, and they were adjusted. The results were adjusted for potential confounding factors, but the outcomes and the accuracy of the results may be affected by other confounding factors. And it was just included English language studies as well, so there may be other studies out there which had different findings.
Okay, yeah, really interesting. Thank you, Gail. It's as always the case with these nutrition studies, there's always these limitations and trickiness, but there's definitely things that nutritional therapists and functional medicine practitioners can take away from this study. So thank you so much, Gail, for your insights on this meta-analysis. For those listening, you can read more about Gail and how to connect with her on the Nutrition Evidence Database by clicking on the Expert Reviewer tab, and you can access Gail's full expert review here on Nutrition Evidence, which is open access for all. So thank you for listening to this NED Talk, brought to you by the Nutrition Evidence editorial team in partnership with BANT.